Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, June 15th. I ask that you please turn your cell phones off during the meeting and please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
(26-0613). Call to order.
Bergmeyer.
Here.
Degenhardt.
Here.
Luer.
Here.
Meyer. Roby. Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Digman.
Here.
Attorney Hess.
Here.
26-0614. Staff reports. City manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. I would open up. Had a complaint today from an Indian Hills resident. Complained that a worker had thrown his disposable water bottle into the ditch on top of the sewer line and covered it up. The contractor instructed his employees not to do that anymore, but the town resident thought we should dig up the sewer line, find the plastic bottle, and dispose of it properly in a landfill where it would be covered with dirt. So I just wanted to know that I made the call not to dig up the sewer line in the Indian Hills subdivision that we had just buried, which, by the way, was plastic. The emergency services building, the white stone is going on. Take a look. If you look at the picture there, it's nice. We've just insured in the union negotiations. We've received the insurance plan options, so we'll continue. That'll allow us to continue the negotiations. Bridge closures began today. As everybody knows, I'm told that the bridge opened up promptly at 3 o'clock today. Along with the bridge closure, our ads for our businesses started up, and we've been getting good comments on those today.
Hey, Bob, I have one question.
Uh-huh.
On that bridge closure thing. During the month of July, when it's closed 100%, is it, some people have been saying that they're going to actually open it back up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon so people can go across. Is that true or false? I was under the impression once it's closed 24 hours a day.
I believe there is a period where it's going to be closed completely, but I don't know if that's the entire time that they're closing both lanes. But I believe that that's true. I believe it's closed completely during.
24 hours. It's not. They're not going to open it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It all changes regularly, but yeah, my understanding would be that when it's closed, it's closed. But I could be corrected on that.
Okay.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the rain events last week because with the changes we made downtown, we kind of learned the good and the bad. We learned what we could handle completely and what we could handle better than we have been before. And so I got some pictures. This is looking at Cincinnati and Jordan Avenue. So that was the water coming. This is Wednesday, not the huge storm on Thursday. This is just Wednesday. So that's what it looks like during a good downpour on that section. This picture is the culvert right here is the culvert that our fire department opened up. That culvert had been open about this much, and as you can see from the water flowing, it was open maybe 20%, and now it's open probably 70 or 80%, and that's the flow that we're getting now. That flow would have been over the railroad tracks, down Cincinnati Avenue, through to the parking lot and around back there. So we're handling all that water, and everything that came in that I showed in the previous picture that came down Jordan on Wednesday was handled right there. This is the ditch that we opened up on the other side, so we took out that second culvert that had collapsed, and then we opened up this ditch. If you look in the far end and see that kind of dark circle, that's the culvert underneath the BN line. And so you can see that even in that large downpour with all that water coming down Jordan, that culvert is only maybe this much, it only has maybe this much water in the bottom of it, and probably has 80 or 90% of its capacity remaining to let the water out. So when the river isn't high, we are handling the water down there much better. This is kind of an amazing shot. This is the parking lot that we put in during that storm. So yes, the water couldn't flow down. The culvert couldn't take it fast enough. But if you look, that whirlpool in the middle, that is one of the drains that we put in that parking lot. And it's taken water about as fast as it could. I'm told by the businesses down there, there's some pumps were able to keep up with the storm on Wednesday as it came down. And the storm on Thursday was a little bit different matter. That was about 4 inches in two falls. And the falls are probably, 20 minutes or half hour each. So that is, when you get 2+ inches of water in a half an hour on saturated soil, you're going to have problems probably. Which brings us to this. I'm going to. So this is the 3rd Street ditch. And I wanted to go through the problems that we're having there and the solutions that we want to present. So this is the ditch coming down 3rd Street. This is that 72-inch culvert running down there. The biggest problem we have with capacity is that this ditch is effectively dammed by this culvert, which runs down. It starts on this side of the ditch. It ends up on this side of the ditch down here and exits into the river. What that means is that we've got a 72-inch high dam running across and taking the capacity away from our ditch. It also means that the turbulence of the water coming over and everything is also slowing down the ability to handle water coming down. We've got plenty of pumping capacity at the end. The only problem we have down there is that the well for the pumps drains faster than we can get water into it. And so there's 2 pumps. We don't have enough water able to get in right now to keep both pumps working. But when those are working, we should be able to handle an incredible amount of water pushed out even when the river's high. If the river had been high during this rain last week, as it was, we were able to, the water drained as soon as the rain was over. If the river had been high and we had to rely on pumps, it would have been a different kind of matter. So this is the same picture, just it shows this is the red is that line. You can see it coming down and crossing across the ditch. This yellow is riprap and concrete that were put in to keep we suspect, to keep the culvert from being undercut by all that water flow. So they put in this ditch and then they filled in the ditch. So this is a big problem. Now, the other thing we have is along 3rd Street here, and I think something everybody knows, the retaining wall is fixing to fall in. When we had our bridge inspected at Menominee, the bridge inspector said you've got a few more years left of the bridge, but the wall's not going to last that long. So Tony and I have been working with Travis Fries from WHKS, both on fixing the ditch, the retaining wall, moving that conduit, that culvert through there, and allowing that to help drain, especially the flats. So next meeting, hopefully we should have a proposal from WHKS to design the solution. We're talking about going in at least two stages, probably maybe three. I'm gonna go one more here. So this would be the project in concept. This is 3rd Street. We would, where the sidewalk is on 3rd Street, you would take that out and widen the ditch, put the new retaining wall in, and then take out the old wall. So you'd expand the capacity of the ditch that way. Essentially, that would be phase 1 would be what's here is 2B. You would replace the bridge on Menominee, widen widen particularly this section, maybe do work on this section. And then in here, where you've widened it, you'd also be able to move the culvert over. So the first phase, you widen and increase the capacity, and you open up the pump area, the pump well, so that it can accept more water. So now you've increased your ability to pump water, and you've increased your capacity of the ditch. Into this retaining wall on this side, you in phase 1. Phase 2 would be to fix this end piece and move that culvert over to one side so that you no longer have it damming the ditch. That would be another huge increase in the capacity of the ditch. So you're increasing the capacity of the ditch in 2 ways, and you're increasing the use of your pumps, which you have at the end. The issues that we're running into in the flats in particular, so you remember last year we fixed over here with the culverts. That seems to be helping to move water there out where we replaced those 3 culverts last year. This is a map showing how the water flows in the flats. So Tim, so you don't need to see this. Probably you kind of have an idea of what's going on down there, right? So the way it slopes in here, and it's not much of a slope, but it all ends up down here at the 6th Street pumping station. So everything from the ditch, so basically almost right at the ditch, the water that falls there ends up working its way all the way across the flats and going to that pumping station where it's pushed out here. The other thing that is affecting this is this whole hilltop area, the stormwater there comes down, comes under the tracks, and it also goes to 6th and Menominee to be pumped out. We've looked at the cost of bringing that pumping station at 6th and Menominee up. The problem is it's so low that when the river rises, you're pumping almost immediately when the river rises. And and getting the capacity of the pumps that are there, even with the auxiliary pumps that Tony puts in, isn't nearly enough to handle a huge rain event. So if we fix the ditch to increase its capacity and our pumping capacity at the end, then we have the ability to take all of this in green, which is 23.4% of the total water hitting 6th and Menominee, and move that over to the ditch on this side of the tracks. So coming down basically where Wall Street, and get it into the ditch from there. So now you've dropped the water going to 6th and Menominee by about a quarter. And then based on the slope of the flats, you can go to about 4th Street, which is right here, and take this purple area and this red area that are now going to 6th and Menominee. Purple is 9.1% of the total water hitting Menominee, 6th Street, and the red is 7.6% of the total hitting 6th and Menominee. So if you put in culverts here going to the channel, to the ditch, and here going to the ditch, you can, that's, you know, so you're at 16, 17% of the water here, 23% of the water there, so you're 40+% of the water that's now hitting Sixth and Menominee that you've sent to the ditch.
That green area, Bob, that's Cemetery Hill, right?
Yep, yep,
Water coming down.
yep. Yeah, so you're talking about a quarter, which is, that seems to us to be the best way to relieve the pressure at Sixth and Menominee, which is why we're talking about, instead of spending $2 million trying to upgrade Sixth and Menominee so that you can push more water out because it's so low, take 40% of that water and put it to the ditch where we've already got the pumping capacity to get the water pushed out. So, as I say, this would be done in 2 phases. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be a big project, but I think when we get this done, we'll have the kind of success on this side of the tracks that we've been kind of seeing on the other side of the tracks. We're seeing on this side of the tracks. The other thing that we'd be able to do with this capacity in the ditch is for what happened. We saw Wednesday. I was driving around during that rain. There was not a drop of water standing on the road in the downtown. The only places where it was backed up at all was just the erosion controls around the culvert at First and Wall Street, which was a requirement. That's temporary. So if we handled Wednesday, we didn't handle Thursday. Thursday, the water built up because we just reached the capacity of the culverts going underneath. Also, if the river had been high, we would have had to push the water from the public works area out to the river, and we don't have the pumping capacity to do as well as this free flow that we got on Wednesday. So the other thing we'd have the option to do would be to go from 2nd Street to the ditch at 3rd Street, right out here on the other side of Slats, and take the water that's now coming down Montgomery. So right now the water coming down Montgomery flows onto Cincinnati, onto 2nd Street, to Wall Street, and then it goes up to 1st Street, and it adds to the problem up there. So if we increase the capacity of the ditch, we'd have the opportunity to take all that water from Montgomery through 2nd Street and move that to the ditch also, and that would all further reduce the pressure on the downtown area. So anyway, that's in my, I'm no engineer, but that's my layman's kind of description. Tony, did I miss anything?
No.
That's pretty much what we talked about? Okay, so next meeting we should have a proposal for to do the engineering work. We will seek every grant, every opportunity to get funding. We've got a few things. We may have some funding available to replace the bridge. We may have some other funding available from the DNR. There may be some grant programs. But we need to have the further along we are in our planning, the better chance we have of getting grant money. And it's my sense that regardless of whether we get money someplace else, we need to figure out how to do phase 1 of this next summer. And so we're going to have to kind of pinch our pennies in other places, put most of our street money, for instance, toward this. But if we lose that retaining wall before we replace it, we're going to be in for a world of hurt. So that's where we're at. Any questions? No. That's my report.
Thanks.
The only thing I have, I just want to say thanks to the Public Works Department and the police and fire departments for responding during last week's storms. You guys did a great job.
I'd like to thank Tim too, by the way. He called us when we had a potential problem developing down there that nobody knew about because the public works guys were scrambling around and prevented some problems for people over there. So thank you.
All right, that's my report. Alderperson report, Bergmeyer.
Nothing to report this week.
Thank you. Degenhardt.
Nothing this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Fluer.
Nothing.
Thank you. Meyer.
Nothing, I just had that question on the bridge, nothing else.
Thank you. Taylor.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. City Attorney Hess.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Police Chief Kavasik. Thank you. Public Works Director Van Ostren. Thank you. Fire Chief Heim. Thank you. Moving forward, 26-0615, speakers from the floor. We do have a speaker from the floor tonight, Ken Freiberger. If you'd like to sit up there by the mic, make sure that it's on.
It says it's got a green light.
There you go.
Okay, the reason I'm here is it's in regards to ordinances. And I feel the township has really mistreated me, mishandled, just pathetic. Now, the way this all started was I have several tractors. I started a collection, and I had a lot of them. And Luke came to the house one day. He said, Ken, we got a problem. It's your tractors. I thought to myself, well, I kind of figured it was going to happen, but I was pressing my luck. But anyways, so he says we have ordinances against old cars, abandoned cars, flat tires and disabled, and we have ordinances. So your tractor's got to go. Okay. I said, I can do that. I says, I'm 72 years old. I can sell the tractors, and I'll try to get them sold, and I'll do what I can do. I realized I got a problem, and I created it, and my collecting got out of hand, and I ended up in a bad spot. Okay, so I went to the next township meeting, and I said, just what's going on here? I says, I've been told that I'm in violation of an ordinance, and they said, yes, your tractor's got to go. Well, I said, well, what about the tractors I use out on my farmland? Got to go. I said, well, what about my snowplow tractor? Got to go. I said, I can't keep none of them. None of them. They all got to go. I said, well, after we had talked for a while, it was told to me, Ken, as long as you're working with us, we'll work with you. And I felt relieved. I thought, good. That's what I wanted, and they said they were happy with that too. If I'd work with them, they'd work with me. So I left the meeting and I put my tractors for sale. And I worked to get them sold, and I worked and I worked and I worked. And the summer passed, and I got them cleared off from the lot across the road, which they didn't say that was a problem. They said the ones on this side of the road was the problem. And there was a lot of them, a tremendous amount of them. But they all had tarps on them. They were all covered. They were all runnable tractors. They just needed to be fluffed and buffed and cleaned and tuned up. When you present them to sell them, you got to have them in good shape. People come to buy them. They want the brakes working. They want to start and they're running good. You got to have it in good mechanical shape. You can't sell them something that they're going to go down the hill and break their neck with because the brakes weren't working. So I spent a tremendous amount of hard work in getting these tractors gone. Well, I sold 17 before I got a notice. I had a second warning. I said, a second warning? I said, I worked my tail off all summer. Good God, I sold 17 of them. I said, I cleaned it up across the road. I was in total shock. I was in total shock. This caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it. They said, yes, Ken, you got to have all your tractors gone by the 1st of January of next year. I said, good God. I said, I got a lot of tractors. And I said, I can't do that. That's not feasible for me to have them gone by January 1st. I said, we're going to be moving into the fall, the cold weather, snow, cold, frigid. I says, people are not going to come and buy tractors that time of year. I said, I can't have a sale and sell them and pay the auctioneer 15, 20% and auction fees and advertising fees. And I'm going to be at the mercy of the buyers who are going to say, oh, he's got to get rid of them. We'll buy them for nothing. I can't lose thousands of dollars. This is insane. So I'm thinking all these things, and I said, well, I can't do January 1st. I said, I can work on it again when the weather breaks next spring. I says, I could work with you guys on that. I said, by the first, they said, well, when? When are you going to have them gone? When are you going to have them gone? I said, well, I don't know. Well, give us a date. How many are you going to have left? I says, how many are you going to have in the back? I says, I don't know. I says, you're asking questions I can't predict. I said, I'll do the best I can. I says, the end of April, I'll put them for sale again. I said, by the 1st of June, I guarantee you, there will be none around the front. There will be nothing around the side. The only ones will be was whatever's left will be in the back. I said, in the back, it's all security fence, high fence. You got a mobile home, a garage, nothing's visible from the road. I said, I'll have what's left back there. Well, how many are you going to have left back there? I don't know. So, okay. So I left it go at that. We talked. And I did as I said. April came and I put the tractors for sale, and I'm hoping for the best. And I'm working on them, getting them running. The weather's broke. And May comes, and I'm working on them, and it's not happening. I'm there. Where are my buyers? I got a problem here. And then I realize, oh, crap. Farmers are all in the field doing field work. And their sons are in the fields. No wonder nobody's coming and looking at the tractors. Very slow. Sales don't happen. Well, okay. Oh, that last meeting that we had in fall, I forgot to mention this. I told them that I would have the tractors in the back by the end of June 1st, and the ones out front would be all gone. And I left the meeting that night, and they said, we'll take that under consideration, Ken. And I said, okay. So I left the meeting. So I didn't know what was going on, okay? Nothing was said that told me they were going to accept this or not accept it or where it was going after this. So I did speak to one of the board members when this was going on, and I said, what have they decided? He says, I don't know. I think they're going to extend it like you want, but I don't know. And I said, okay. Well, here, one of the problems I had some health issues. I had my gallbladder out in January, which it was giving me trouble. About the time that all this started, my damn gallbladder was giving me so many problems. I thought it was my nerves that was causing all the stomach problems. And New Year's Eve, I ended up at the hospital, and they said, you're not going home, you're going to have your gallbladder out tomorrow morning. You're in rough shape. I said, yeah, I know. So, okay, I went through all that. Damn near, it was supposed to be an hour and a half surgery. It ended up being 3-4 hours. I damn near ended up going to Iowa City, which I lucked out. Thank the good Lord. I was able to stay in Dubuque. Then a few months passed, and then I find out, now they're telling me I probably got prostate cancer. My PSA is so high. I got all this stuff on my mind, and I got the tractors on my mind, and I'm just about ready to go nuts. My life's a miserable hell for how long here? Well, the 1st of June comes, and I'm sorry if I'm getting long on this, but this is all what happened. So the 1st of June comes, I thought, well, I had them tractors across the road out there in that empty lot where people could come and run and drive them and check them out. And that's the way you want to sell them. You don't want to have them in the back where they can't see them and covered up with tarps. And then they say, well, I want that one over there. And you got to move 10 tractors and untarp 10 tractors to get that one out. So I put them over here on this side of the road where people could see them and sell them. And that works good. Okay. 1st of June comes. I did what I said. I spent $200 some in grass seed, seeded this all down where the grass had been all killed off from the tractors and the tarps. I did all that. I had all the tractors in the back. You drive up and down the road, you really can't see any tractors. If you could see tractors from the road, then you're looking where you shouldn't be looking. Okay, so if they're in the back, I got a security fence around the whole thing. The mobile home takes up a lot, the garage takes up a lot. And I had asked them earlier about putting up a fence and covering this where they're out in front, and they said, no fence, no fence. Okay, so I couldn't do that. I tried every way I could to comply to keep them happy. This is the point I want to make. So I had them in the back, what was left. And the 1st of June comes, and I go, I just wonder what they're going to do. I'm going to go to the next township meeting, and we're going to discuss this and see what's up. Because I feel if my tractor's in the back, they're out of sight, out of mind. It's no different than if they're in a building or if they're sitting in the back where you can't see them. It's pretty near the same thing. But I said, that's my feelings on this, but I got to see what they say. So here, the early part of June, here, this citation shows up. And deputy police brought it and said, Ken, I gotta give you a violation. I said, for what? He said, you gotta get all the tractors gone. I said, for God's sakes, I said, I told him I wanted to keep some of them at the last meeting. I said, I put everything in the back, just like I said I would. I said, there's nothing out front. I complied. Everything I said, I did. And I said, now I get a violation citation for $165? I said, this is unfair, for God's sakes. I did everything I could. What did I do wrong? He says, Kent, I'm just a messenger. I says, okay. So I'm terribly upset. So I go to the next township meeting. Oh, let me tell you something else too. Way back when this started, I came to City Hall and I said, Luke told me I was in violation of the ordinances, like automobiles and all this stuff, these tractors. And I said, okay, but I don't understand why the township is enforcing these. But I didn't tell him that, but I couldn't understand. And I thought to myself, what the hell's going on? Why they were enforcing them. So I started asking questions. Nobody knew. So I called down to Hanover and I talked to the zoning administrator and ordinances and all that stuff. And whoever she was, I explained the situation about the tractors and what the township was doing. She said, do you live in the city or do you live in the county? I said, I live in Pioneer Acres. I live in the county. She said, we take care of that. She said, I recommend you call your attorney. I said, well, okay, I can do that. I'm trying to find out what the hell's going on. So the more I checked into this, and I came down to City Hall and I asked her, I said, what's going on? What ordinance am I in violation of and all this stuff? I want some evidence here. What's going on? She looks on the computer. She says, there's nothing in the computer, Ken. I'm there like, somebody's got to know something. I'm advised to get an attorney, all this stuff. Okay, that was earlier in the ball game. So now we're up to June. I got the citation. I'm there. Good God, I did everything I could. What right do they have to do this? The county zoning told me one thing. Who the hell knows what the hell's going on?
I don't mean to interrupt you. It sounds to me like your issue is with the township board. I mean, I think we're
It is.
I think the part that people don't understand is we have a mutual agreement with the township for our officers to go out and write tickets in the township for like their ordinance violations. But that has nothing to do with the city.
Well, the ordinance violation comes through the city, and you're the one enforcing it. Now, if you want to enforce these violations, then you should know what's going on and the reason why it's being issued. This is the point I'm trying to make too. My rights have been violated, and yous are part of it because that's the way I feel. Here it is, and yous are enforcing it because what they say is not right. So at this point in time, I'm going to shorten this up. At this point in time, I don't know what to do. I'm told if I don't get rid of the tractors, I'm in violation, I guess. Well, I'm continuing to sell them. I've got them on Marketplace. I got them on Craigslist. I'm doing everything I can to sell them. I've got some sitting on my lot that is over the top Badger Road. So when the excess of traffic now is coming through, now's a good time to have a few out there on display with a sign that says for sale. It's a great time to sell tractors. It gives me a great opportunity. So what I'm stating here is the township has crapped on me, is what I feel, and I'm coming to you and bringing this to your attention, and this is what you want to back and support, what they're doing, which is, as far as I'm concerned, is not correct, not right. Well, can I put tractors out there, or can I put tractors out there? They won't tell me. The township won't tell me because it, well, you got an attorney involved. Well, yeah, under the advice of what Joe Davis County Zoning told me, and when I get a citation, yes, I'm going to consult with an attorney. I got an appointment scheduled for him. Now, I'd like to get this all resolved, and I want to work with the township and get this all taken care of, but it's not happening. And they, when I asked information, you know what they tell me? You said you're going to get an attorney. We can't talk about it. Well, if you can't talk about it, then you must be doing something wrong. And I would like to talk about it. I need to get this problem cleared up, but I need some answers. Can I put my tractors out there or can't put my tractors out there?
So all the questions you've asked about whether or not you can put the tractors out there is really between you and the township. We don't issue anything in the township on our own. We issue when the town asks us to issue because they don't have the system to be able to do that. And so that's the service that we have contracted with the township to provide, is to enforce their ordinances at their request. So whatever the issue is, whether you have them out, whether you don't have them out, whether you can have them or not, that's between you and the township. We just act when the township asks us to provide the service of issuing the permit. That's all we do. We don't. So we can't tell you whether or not you can have a tractor, and we can't tell you what to do to make it right with the township, and we can't tell you what your legal options are with a lawyer. All we can tell you is that the town asked us under our agreement to issue this.
All this. But what I'm trying to make a point here, if they come to you and says, we need another citation issued to Ken Freiberg because he hasn't got rid of the tractors.
If they ask us to do another...
here between me and the township, I can't comply if they won't talk to me and tell me what they want. The last time they wanted to know, well, Ken, how many tractors do you want to plan on keeping? But they never got back to me with nothing, and I get a citation when they never gave me an answer from the questions from last fall.
So you can make that case to the town, or you can make that case to the court, because that's issued. You have the recourse to go to the court before the judge and make the same case you're making tonight. The only people involved in this that can't do anything about it is us, because we haven't done anything to do it. If they ask us to issue another citation, we will issue another citation because that's the agreement we have with the township. We don't judge what their regulations or their enforcement is. We just act at their request, and then you have the option to go to the judge and make the argument that what they're saying is unreasonable, or it's not backed up by their code, or whatever that is. And you can do that, but we don't have an ability to tell you anything about what you can or can't do in the township, and we don't have the ability to tell you that we won't issue another citation.
I wanted to bring it to your attention what's going on, so you can get possibly a handle on this and just kind of see the guidelines of what they're following out there, because I'm being crushed. This is not right. That's my ending statement. This is not right.
I know Kenny's been working hard out there cleaning up this mess. And there's lots of places up in Pioneer Acres, a lot worse than what he has sitting around his place.
Yeah.
A lot of places.
Sure.
And he's been working hard, like you said.
Done more work than anybody.
He moved all that stuff.
Unfortunately, it's out of our
I know,
jurisdiction,
I
you
just
know,
wanna
but
Say,
But you got an agreement with the township, and I think you should call Mark in and talk about this situation and what's going on. This may not be the end of this, and there may be other problems in the future. So if they're gonna do it, they better do it right if you wanna back them up. That's my case. If you wanna back them up, then make sure they're doing it right.
thank you.
And thanks for listening, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just a little torqued off here. And I'm venting every place I can. And I'm doing everything I can to try and resolve this. And I'm a good, honest guy and a good American person. And when my rights are violated, I push back. And thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Thanks,
sorry
Tom.
I took your time. Everybody's got things to do. And I know where you're coming from, believe me. I'm not a dumb guy here.
No, I get it.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you much.
Thanks.
I'm happy I got this done.
All right, moving forward, 26-0616 consent agenda.
Still moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart. Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Roby. Taylor.
Aye.
Moving on to new business, 26-0617, action to award pre-approved August 18th, 2025 TIF award 25-0821 payment for Bluff City Slots in the amount of $13,174.59 in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is just what the council approved. I will say that this, I think, is exactly what the facade grant was developed for. I think that building is really a nice addition to the downtown.
Yeah, looks really nice. Real nice.
Yeah, I think once again, this is a great program that we have going on. I think we're seeing the results up and down the street. So this, like I said, this was all pre-approved. Basically what we're doing is just approving the payment. So we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Dagenhart.
aye,
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
26-0618, discussion and possible action to approve proclamation honoring the East Dubuque Lions Club 90th anniversary. Have a proclamation to read here. Proclamation honoring the East Dubuque Lions Club on the occasion of its 90th anniversary. Whereas Lions Club International was established in 1917, is made up of 1.4 million members consisting of over 50,000 clubs serving in more than 200 countries. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club was chartered on June 22nd, 1936, and this year proudly celebrates 90 years of dedicated service to the East Dubuque community. And whereas the members of the East Dubuque Lions Club have provided countless volunteer hours in service to the community, collecting food and operating East Dubuque Food Pantry, participating in numerous community parades, hosting the annual community Easter egg hunt, and whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club has remained true to global Lions initiatives, including the Hearing and Sight program, supporting our local elementary students with health and vision screenings, and providing funding for hearing aids, eye exams, and glasses. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club has funded, designed, and constructed numerous lasting improvements within the area, including the Lions Den Pavilion at Dunleith Park and the covered Riverfront Pavilion. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club has raised funds through longstanding and successful community events such as the Mother's Day Flower Sale, annual chili cook-off, and golf tournaments, and has further secured sponsorships and donations to expand its charitable impact. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club has provided meaningful financial and in-kind support to numerous organizations, including the East Dubuque Booster Club, East Dubuque District Library Foundation, annual Thanksgiving dinner, and additional charitable causes, community initiatives, and local organizations throughout Joe Davies County. And whereas, since 2013, the East Dubuque Lions Club has supported the local youth through the Leo Club at East Dubuque High School, helping high school students develop their leadership skills by organizing and participating in community service projects, food drives, and fundraisers, and has awarded $275,000 in scholarships to high school seniors pursuing further education and training, career training. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club has proudly been the charter organization for Scouting America Troop 14 since 1936, the oldest charter in Northeast Iowa Council. And whereas for 9 decades, the East Dubuque Lions Club has exemplified the highest ideals of volunteerism, compassion, and civic responsibility, committed to improving the lives of all those in need. And whereas the East Dubuque Lions Club proudly remembers and honors all Lions of our past and continues to flourish with our current members who demonstrate an enduring legacy of community service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the East Dubuque City Council, on behalf of the citizens of our community, hereby congratulates and honors the East Dubuque Lions Club upon the celebration of its 90th anniversary and expresses sincere appreciation for 90 years of unwavering service, generosity, and commitment to the citizens of our city and Joe Davies County. We need a motion to approve the proclamation.
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer. Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Degenhardt.
Aye.
Thank you for everything that you do for our community. Moving forward, 26-0619, discussion and possible action to approve intergovernmental cooperation agreement for the emergency alert system, replacing Code Red in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is just the, as it said, replacing the Code Red system with this new system. The cost is $677.25 a year. And so it's the option the county gives us, so we love it.
I have one quick question. So when would this take place? So I know like last week we're kind of in a little limbo land, so people out there understand.
My understanding is the system is up and running or virtually up and running, but people will have to sign up again for this system. So there'll be a new sign-up process. So it'll be in place, but it won't really be worth implementing until people sign up for it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Roll call.
Meyer.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Degenhardt.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
26-0620, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 5 for the Emergency Services Building in the amount of $10,528.50 in the city of East Dubuque.
So these are relatively small change orders. The major one of $6,000 has to do with electrical panel. It was believed that we could reuse an electrical panel from that was used prior at the fire station, but as the electricians got into it, that system wouldn't meet the code and the needs of the current building. So we have to upgrade that panel to meet code. You don't want to mess with electricity. The second is $1,466 for revisions in the bathrooms. This had to do with some changes that had to be made. The least cost option was to change the towel dispensers, waste receptacles, and mirrors. Seems like a lot until you figure it's four bathrooms. So it's, $600 a bathroom, I guess, for the different attachments. That was the least cost option for that. And then stone for the 3 feet between the part of the building the new part of the building where the staircase is, and attaching that to the existing fire station. So that's $3,000 of additional stone to make that work. So $10,000 total.
Any questions or discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Roll call.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer.
26-0621, discussion and possible action to approve emergency service building payment number 8 in the amount of $194,708.65 for Tricon General Construction in the city of East Dubuque.
So as we usually have done, this is the regular payment. It's gone to the architects and been checked through. So I'd recommend payment.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Roll call.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
26-0622, discussion and possible action to approve Fairgram contract for wastewater treatment plant operations supervisory in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is, we will be, due to retirement, be losing our licensed wastewater treatment operator this year. And so the cost of oversight of the wastewater treatment plant to meet all the state requirements goes up. You have to have that level of licensed person. We looked at some other options. I tried to look for some other options for this year, because of the coordination that Fairgrounds has, because of their past association with us there. That was probably the best. That was the best deal we could get for this year. In the future, we will either hire somebody who is trained and licensed, or we'll have somebody work on getting licensed. With that, we'll be able to look at other options. So that's where the cost goes up for this.
Any questions or discussion?
It is an estimate also, by the way, so they've got to bill hours against the budget for it. So as we're able to hold it down, we will.
If not, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
All right, there will be no executive session tonight. So with that, number 26-0625, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
And we need signatures.
We do need signatures from everybody on.
Here, let me grab that and I'll.
Do this.
Hey, let's do